With me now is Oded Revivi. He is the mayor of Efrat and the chief foreign envoy with the Settlements Council. Also joining me is Ashraf al-Ajrami, former Palestinian Affairs Minister of Detainees with the Palestinian Authority. Gentlemen, both, thank you so much for being with me. Mr. Revivi, I want to start with you, which is the issue still of this mapping committee. Netanyahu says we're going to move forward on July 1st. But there's still the issue of this, that the U.S. insists on completing the mapping protocol first. What do you make of the mapping issue?
I think generally speaking, the mapping committee, if desired, could finish its work extremely quickly. If the mapping committee is the system to drag the process for a long period of time, it can serve as dragging the process for a long period of time. Initially, my understanding was that there was no need for a mapping committee because applying Israeli law over the Jewish towns and cities in Judea and Samaria could have basically been written in a sentence without any maps actually being drawn, just by saying, look what the municipality borders of these towns and cities are, and apply it over there. We know that afterwards the mapping committee came into the air mainly to gain time in order to get the process slowed down slightly, and that's where we are at the moment.
But then, on that point, when the U.S. Secretary of State was here just a few weeks ago, he insisted that there's work that still has to be done. There has to be progress on the mapping issue before the actual extension of sovereignty will proceed. Are you concerned, perhaps, that if there's not a delay, you may lose U.S. support for extending sovereignty?
I definitely understand your question, and I think when we look at the whole Trump deal, we understand that it's come to the world to serve different interests and different schedules. And it might definitely be that the Americans, seeing how long it took the Israeli political system to actually reach a decision of forming a government, that they might have lost interest in the Trump deal, and it's not going to be pushed as forward as some people in Israel having a discussion of yes or no. It might have been already off the table.
Okay.
I think when Secretary Pompeo came 2 weeks ago to Israel, everybody was sure he was going to discuss two issues, Iran and COVID-19, and maybe sovereignty. All of a sudden, he came with a new topic called China. Nobody was expecting that topic to be on the table. And for me, myself, it gave me an indication that you might be right in your question, that the Americans might have lost some interest in this topic.
All right, Ashraf, I want to ask you a question. I spoke with you before the Israeli election and before this coalition government came together, this unity government. You expressed doubts that annexation would actually happen. It may have been another promise from Netanyahu to right-wing Israeli voters, but expressed doubts it would actually go through because of what it would mean for the relationship with the PA. Do you think now, still, that it won't happen, or do you believe that in July, annexation may proceed?
The situation is different as it was before, because there is a new government in Israel, and the agreement, the coalition agreement between Benny Gantz and Benjamin Netanyahu about the annexation is very clear. There is no veto for Benny Gantz, and Benjamin Netanyahu has the majority in the government and the majority in the Knesset to promote this step. Because of that, I think the Israeli government just waits for the American approval. If there is an American approval, they will do it immediately. The Americans want delay or something of freezing even this step. I think the Israeli government will obey the American demand.
But major settlement blocks. Go ahead, Ashraf.
I think the situation is in favor of Benjamin Netanyahu, and it depends now on the American decision. I don't think that the Benjamin Netanyahu will prevent a situation that he will implement his vision
Okay.
to annex the Israeli settlements and the Jordanian Valley to Israel.
Okay, Mr. Ajrami, Mr. Revivi, stay with us. We have a very short break. I want to continue this discussion on the reaffirmation of the annexation promise for this summer.